You are listening to the audio production of When Shift Happens, Say Yes to Your Next by McKinney Hammond, published by Whitaker House. This book is read by the author. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Genesis chapter 8, verse 22.
Forward by Valerie Bertner, founder of the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute. It was June 2002. Much had shifted in my life in the previous 6 months. My mother had suffered a brain aneurysm while we were on the phone one night, and that led to a series of life-shifting events in my family. When her life changed in an instant, so did mine. I went from being a single, carefree 20-something pursuing her dream of writing and speaking to a caregiver trying to keep my business going while maneuvering the world of health insurance, doctor's appointments, and helping raise a third grader who happened to be my only sibling. I moved into her home to help care for her. And as though divinely orchestrated, during those months I had about a 9-month stint filling in to co-host a television show called The Potter's Touch with Bishop T.D. Jakes. The show filmed at the church, a short 10-minute drive from my mother's house, south of Dallas. With the responsibilities of caregiving for my mother and my then 8-year-old brother, this opportunity was about all I could handle at the time, and I was grateful. By June, I was shooting my last episode of the show, and it was one brief moment of that last shoot that created a major shift for my career as an author. One of our guests on the last episode I shot was a kind, sharp woman by the name of Cheryl Martin, a former news anchor for BET. I mentioned casually that I had written a proposal for my second book and was looking to get it published. As soon as the shoot ended, Cheryl was intent on striking up a conversation about my proposal. "Send me a copy," she said emphatically. "I have a friend who is an author and her publisher is looking for authors like you. I'll pass it along to her." It sounded a little too good to be true, and to be honest, I was slightly skeptical. I knew how rare it was to get an audience with a publisher because they have no lack of aspiring authors knocking on their door, and even more rare for an author to pass along a proposal for someone they don't know. But Cheryl was persistent. She believed in me, even though we had only just met. So I sent the proposal to Cheryl. Like she promised, she passed it on to her friend. A couple of weeks later, my literary agent called saying that Waterbrook Press, a division of Random House, was interested in my book. So just who was that mystery friend Cheryl passed my proposal along to? Who was the friend who opened a door to a woman she didn't even know? That friend was a wholehearted, kind, and generous author who has written over 40 inspiring books and sold millions of them. In fact, this book is her latest. It would be a couple of years before I finally met McKinney Hammond at a women's conference where we were both speakers. From the moment my book proposal landed in her mailbox 2 decades ago until the writing of this foreword, our paths have intertwined at moments where a shift was occurring. Shifts happen in moments. They can be divinely orchestrated, and they can change everything. I wrote 5 books with Waterbrook over the 9 years following that first book deal with them. Later, when I became co-host of Aspiring Women, an Emmy-winning television show Michelle had co-hosted for a decade, I interviewed her for the show from her fabulous Chicago apartment. Soon, we'd both experience unplanned shifts in our lives, as I went through divorce and she embarked on a transcontinental move to Ghana. During that time, I listened and encouraged her, and she did the same for me. As my life transitioned to a blessed marriage, family, and business, Michelle still cheers me on. Her encouraging spirit shines just as brightly in the pages of this book. Shifts go much better when we have friends to lean on. Even more so when those friends keep pointing us to God and reminding us
Sample complete. Ready to continue?